NBA Now is presented by Manscaped. If you want 20% off and free shipping on the best men's grooming products, go to manscaped.com/chat, enter the promo code chat. That link is in the description as well as the comment section of this video. Manscaped, they're products that we use all the time. Ben Simmons might be afraid to shoot the rock. Don't be afraid to shave your balls. Manscaped.com/chat, enter the promo code chat. Coming up on NBA Now, we're going to break down the top 10 starting lineups in the NBA. And when I put together this list, I sat back, I marveled at it because I thought it was a very good list, but also this thought came to mind that the talent pool in the NBA nowadays is so deep, which is a great thing for us as NBA fans because this upcoming season is going to be hyper competitive. Let's get to the top 10 starting lineups. Coming in at number 10, it's the Utah Jazz. They put together a very good season last year in which they were the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. And throughout this segment, we're going to be taking a look at these starting lineups as the potential starting lineups because, of course, NBA training camp not getting underway for the next couple of weeks. Here is our Jazz potential starting lineup. You re-signed Mike Conley, so he's going to play point guard. Thought he was really good in year 2 at this organization. Donovan Mitchell took yet another step forward as one of the best scorers in the NBA. I don't think he's reached his ceiling just yet. Bogdanovich, a really good, reliable shooter from the outside who can stretch the floor. I thought the Rudy Gay signing in NBA free agency incredibly underrated because this guy is a bucket getter, but also has so much experience at the NBA level. And then you have the Defensive Player of the Year and Rudy Gobert holding it down low in the paint. Number 9, the Denver Nuggets. Hopefully Jamal Murray is able to make a full recovery coming off of that torn ACL. If he's able to do that, I think the Nuggets are going to be in the thick of things in a loaded Western Conference. The potential starting lineup for the Nuggets, Jamal Murray, I know that he didn't really live up to the expectations that he kind of brought on himself with how well he played in the NBA bubble. Wasn't as good as that last year, but still, he's a scorer who can get it done from all 3 levels. Michael Porter Jr., without Murray in the lineup, took that step forward as a very reliable go-to option as well. Can they coexist? Porter and Murray, the jury is out on that. Jokic, your MVP from last year. Aaron Gordon as a two-way player, I like it. And then Will Barton can go off on a heater offensively. Doesn't give you a lot defensively, but this is still a pretty legitimate starting 5 in the Mile High City. Better starting 5 of the 2 that we just hit. Utah Jazz or the Denver Nuggets. Type UTA for Utah. Type DEN for the Nuggets. Get those votes in right now in the comment section. Coming in at number 8, the Chicago Bulls, one of the more active teams in NBA free agency, and I like the aggressiveness that the front office showed because really, since Derrick Rose and before that Michael Jordan, the Bulls as an organization have been average, if not worse than that. They're not going to be an average team in 2021-2022 because their starting 5 offensively has the ability to be lights out. Defensively, I have a lot of questions. Defensively, the only guys who can really play defense here, Lonzo Ball and Patrick Williams. I have concerns about DeMar DeRozan on the defensive end of the floor. Vooch is kind of a sieve defensively. Zach LaVine did show me something in the Olympics as a defensive player, but offensively, Lonzo Ball, good vision, coming off one of his best seasons offensively. I think he's going to fit nicely in as a traditional point guard. He wasn't playing that with the Pelicans last year. DeMar DeRozan doesn't shoot threes, but mid-range jumpers are back and he can get to the cup. Zach LaVine, hyper-athletic, 3-level scorer, has the ability to go off for 40 points any given night. Patrick Williams was great last year as a rookie, and then Vucevic, one of the better scoring bigs in the NBA. Number 7, how about the Atlanta Hawks coming off that run that was a surprise to a lot of people to the Eastern Conference Finals this offseason? They give Trae Young that rookie max contract extension, and I think Trae Young is only scratching the surface. The NBA rule changes that have been made over the last couple of years certainly work to his advantage. Now, some of those rules are going to be tweaked going into this season, so is he going to be able to get away with some of those ticky-tack fouls? But anytime you can score and you are a scoring threat, when you cross half court, you're going to be steady getting buckets. So Trae Young as the starting point guard, Bogdanovich as a 2 guard. Kevin Huerter really came on during the NBA playoffs. He could either come in off the bench or be a starter. Maybe Cam Reddish could fill the void here as well. John Collins back after being a restricted free agent. I think that deal for Atlanta is a steal. And then Clint Capella down low as a rim-running, shot-blocking big. Him and Trae Young were working magic with a little two-man game on that pick and roll as well as the alley-oops. I really like the Hawks' potential going into this season. If you had to pick a winner between the Bulls and the Hawks, if they met up in a playoff series, who you going with? I think this would be a really intriguing matchup. Type CHI for the Bulls, type ATL for the Hawks. I think the Hawks have more defensively, so I'm going to go ahead and submit my ATL. A lot of these starting lineups, they are the perfect package for their respective organizations. And if you want the perfect package from Manscaped, you can get it right now on sale for $87.99 if you enter the promo code CHAT after going to manscaped.com/chat. The perfect package is honestly just a steal, just like John Collins' contract with the Atlanta Hawks. $87.99 for all of these products is a deal that you have to just get in on. The ball toner, ball deodorant, the boxer briefs, the lawnmower 4.0, and you can put all of that in the travel case. You can't beat it. So once again, manscaped.com/chat. Enter the promo code CHAT. Get the perfect package, just like some of these top 10 starting lineups in the NBA. Let's get to the Golden State Warriors now. For me, they have the 6th best NBA starting lineup, but it all hinges on one player, Klay Thompson. And it's a big risk to put them in at number 6, but I'm hoping and praying that Klay Thompson is going to be able to come back and be something close to that form that we saw from 2015 to 2019 when he was a 5-time NBA All-Star helping the Warriors win 3 NBA championships. If Klay Thompson is able to be the elite shooter that he was and one of the best defenders in the league prior to going down with the torn ACL and that torn Achilles, this Warriors starting lineup, it's going to be lethal. Steph Curry can still play. I thought he was the MVP of the second half last year, and to me, the best player in the NBA after the All-Star break. He won the NBA scoring title, averaging 32 points per game on the knot. Klay Thompson as a guy who can play the 2 or 3. Andrew Wiggins is underrated but overpaid, but he can give you 18.5 points and play stellar defense. Draymond Green might not be anything offensively anymore, but is still an orchestrator on that end of the floor and is an all-world caliber defensive player. And I think James Wiseman, coming off that knee injury, is going to take the next step in his development. I think the Warriors, if Klay Thompson stays healthy, can compete for an NBA championship. What does Dub Nation think, though? Can the Warriors compete for a title with that starting 5 that we just showed you? Type Y for yes, type N for no. We're moving on into the top 5. Phoenix Suns coming off an NBA Finals runner-up campaign. They basically return their whole roster. And that starting 5 can be interchanged with a couple of pieces, but we know that Chris Paul is going to start. We know that Devin Booker, as one of the top young players in the league, can start as well. I'm looking at Jay Crowder. He could either start or come in off the bench. Cam Johnson can fill in that role nicely as well. You want to throw another guard into the equation, maybe you can do that as well. But Mikal Bridges has emerged as a very legitimate two-way player. So I love the blend of young players, premier assets on this roster with D-Book, Bridges, and DeAndre Ayton, but the veteran experience as well in Chris Paul and Jay Crowder. And hey, let's keep it 100 here. I mean, the Suns are coming off going to the NBA Finals, and that series lasting 6 games. It's only right that they're a top 5 starting lineup. The Miami Heat edge the Suns because I think they have a little bit more lineup versatility, and I like them a little bit more defensively. And I like the interchangeable roles that a lot of these players can kind of fill under Eric Spoelstra. They're also a great developer of talent. Kyle Lowry coming to the Heat in NBA free agency. He might be overpaid toward the back end of that contract, so too is Jimmy Butler. But in the immediacy of the moment, a backcourt of Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero as a floor stretcher. I think some pressure can be taken off of him where he can get some open looks. You can throw Duncan Robinson in the starting 5 as well, or Hero or Robinson can come in off the bench. PJ Tucker, a dog like Lowry and Butler. I love the blend of some bulldogs there within this roster as well. And then Bam Adebayo, one of the best two-way bigs in the NBA today. Do you think the Heat can compete for the Eastern Conference title? Chime in, sound off in the comments section. Type H for hell yeah. Type O for they're overrated Get those votes in right now. If you haven't subscribed to us here at Chat Sports, you're making a big mistake because we're getting closer and closer to 270,000 subscribers. One of the big reasons we've been able to grow, we hit you with entertaining coverage that's also very informative. We like audience interaction, and we like to basically just hit you with the facts and not hit you with a bunch of bullshit. So we cover the NBA year-round, free agency, the draft, in season. So hit that red subscribe button down below if you want more NBA videos like this one. Milwaukee Bucks coming in at number 3. They're the NBA champions, and I understand that they lost some pieces to that roster that won an NBA title, but they're starting 5. It's going to get bolstered up with Donte DiVincenzo coming off of that foot injury, and this is still an elite starting lineup that I think is still somewhat underrated. Chris Middleton deserves more props for being a go-to option in crunch time. Giannis, I mean, he put to bed any questions or any concerns about him being a top 3 NBA player. He is that now after a 50-point performance in a closeout game in Game 6 and an NBA Finals MVP. Drew Holiday, Donte DiVincenzo, Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, as well as Giannis, that starting 5, it's still one of the best in the league. It's not better, in my opinion, than the Los Angeles Lakers because I think LeBron James is a better player than Giannis is right now, and Anthony Davis, when healthy, you might give the nod to AD over a player like Giannis. Now, I'm not sure what Frank Vogel is going to do with the starting 5. He's going to have some difficult decisions to make as to who he starts at the 5 and who he starts at the 2-guard spot. But this is the Lakers' potential starting lineup that we have put together right now. Russell Westbrook, he's going to start at point guard. LeBron James, he can bring the ball up, but he's going to be your 3. Anthony Davis can play the 4 or 5, so he can play center minutes, he can play power forward minutes. We'll put Marc Gasol in there as well. I think he's a good complementary piece after those aforementioned players. And then Wayne Ellington as a floor stretcher. Lakers, I know they're old, but hey, it's all for this year, and I think they're going to be all in this year. Lastly, the best starting lineup in the NBA. It's really not much of a debate. It's the Brooklyn Nets. The blend of scoring ability from all 3 levels that comes from Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant will go down as one of the best, one of the most breathtaking, and one of the most efficient offensive big threes that we'll ever see in NBA history. I mean, Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant, they all average at least 25 points per game. And Harden, who has been a perennial 30 points per game scorer, got some shots taken away from him, and he still averaged 25. KD and Kyrie within that big 3 average a tick under 27. Joe Harris, a very good 3-point shooter, even though he came up short in the NBA playoffs. And then as Blake Griffin as your 5-man, I still think that he has some bounce in his legs. His career has been somewhat rejuvenated, and I think the role in which he's in as a center man who's not the focal point of the offense really suits him well. So if this was the NBA Finals matchup between the Nets and the Lakers, who would you go with? Because according to the betting odds, these are the 2 title favorites. Predict it for me. Type BKN for the Nets, type LAL for the Lakers. Get those predictions in right now. Some of you watching might be saying, the Los Angeles Clippers, not a top 10 starting 5, but the Denver Nuggets and the Utah Jazz are? Yeah, it's because of no Kawhi Leonard. And some of you now might be responding to that by saying, well, Jamal Murray, he's also coming off an ACL injury as well. That injury happened way before Kawhi. So I expect Jamal Murray to come back at some point in the middle of the season. I don't know if Kawhi is going to come back until the back half of the season, maybe even in the playoffs. And without Kawhi in that starting 5, I really think the Clippers, as a starting unit, are just okay.